live. The lighting's awful. Happy Halloween Eve. Tomorrow's Halloween. I love Halloween. Not because I'm a witch or because I'm psychic or anything like that. It's because I believe it used to be the proper start of the new year. Because it would make sense, wouldn't it? We'd have the harvest. And then we'd have the start of the new year. And they've changed all that. They've altered all the days. But anyway, due to unexpected circumstances, here I am tonight, so I'm going to make the most of it. So, I was going to do this tomorrow, but I'm busy tomorrow. I will do something, but not much. But I'll be in my witchy dress, then in my witchy hat, and I'm going out to a fancy dress party. Ooh. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to that. And you know what? It's local, so I can have a tipple. 1 drink, 2 maybe. I might go mad and have 2. Do you like my nail varnish, by the way? It's for tomorrow because my dress is black and that colour. Anyway, here we go. So what I thought I'd do is relate. It's not about ghosts this time. It's an alien abduction. It's a personal experience that I had. I can't remember the date. It was 1988 or 1989. But I think it was 88. Anyway, I lived in a northern suburb of Liverpool. And I must have been about 26. Only a young woman. Anyway, I lived in this house. And I went to bed one night. Right? And, you know, the human perception, so David Icke says, is only about a small percent of what we can actually see. And people wouldn't, and he said something about why aliens appear in the bedroom. Well, this not quite it. Well, what happened is this. I goes to bed. I can't tell you where my partner was at the time. Sorry, I never my nuisance on, I'm just tying this bell. Anyway, I heard this drilling outside. It sounded like, you know, drilling like for gas pipes. And it was 10 or 11 at night, and I thought, a bit late for that. Well, I looked out the window, and this tripod thing landed, and then like this shuttle thing landed. The next day, there's all these people at the door, the next thing, and I'm reluctant to open it, and they say, if you don't open the door, we can just come in anyway. So I reluctantly opened the door. They got my partner at that time to take the furniture upstairs because they said they needed to be higher up and they couldn't sit on the ground floor. They said they'd come from the mothership from the moon and they wanted to speak to me. Anyway, I couldn't believe this. And they said I wasn't to remember it and that my partner at the time had something done to him that he wouldn't remember a thing. And he actually brought 2 chairs upstairs for them to sit on. And they told me not to worry about him because it wasn't part of it. He was just there, but it wasn't him that they'd come to see. They'd come to see me. Now, just relating back a bit, all through my life I had seen UFOs in the sky and lights and things. I'd been with family members, friends, other people. And I used to see things in the sky that were not of this world. So obviously they were UFOs. Anyway. And one family member actually saw a big, massive one before this happened. Anyway, it's really low as well, you know, car level, bridge level, you know, railway bridge level. Anyway, that's another story. But anyway, we were upstairs and they started talking to me. I can't remember the whole conversation. But I'll tell you what they look like. They all wore like an all-in-one. They looked like the clothes were stuck on them with no seams or anything. And adding like something on, like a letter in silver. And they were white with blue and they had white like wellies on. They all looked Nordic. And there was one person that looked a bit like me. And they were very, you know, they were that colour skin. And they looked very human. Only there was something. Though they looked humanoid, there was something quite not like we are. There was something different. Just couldn't put your finger on it. Anyway, right away, I just started walking from them, walking away. And they were saying, don't you trust me? This particular one, this blonde-haired man, he'd be in his 20s, early 30s. Very, very Nordic looking. And he started talking and he wanted me to trust him. And I said I did trust him, but I didn't. And he could read my mind, you see. And he said, no, you don't. And I didn't understand why they'd come to speak to me, a mere mortal like me, because I was only like in my 20s. I didn't know anything. And I said, well, I was worried. I said, what did they want anyway? The next thing, they start looking in at my children. So I've got 2 in one room and 2 in another. I know, I was only a young mum. Anyway, they go into where the younger children are, like babies. They go in where the other 2 are, and they take the eldest boy out of the bed, and he was about 8. And you know what? Later on, he remembered being picked up because he got a bit angry. Oh, what? Oh, he wasn't happy. He didn't like being disturbed in his sleep. And they laid him out in my bedroom, what I shared with my partner, and lay him on the chest. And they started doing all this to him. And they pulled me to one side. They said, your son's going to die. And I was terrified. I thought they were going to kill him. But anyway, what it was they said he was going to get very ill in a few years, and they could save him. And they said there might come a time you wish we hadn't saved him, because he's going to do something very wrong. And I thought, what, is only 8? What the hell? I was terrified. I thought I was getting really worried. I thought they were going to do something bad. I didn't know what to think. It was a surreal experience, and I started getting a bit worried. But anyway, I told them that no matter what he did, and the only thing I could think is if he murdered someone, I'd like him to save his life, please, yes. So they did. They went, and they shoved him back to bed. The next thing, they whisked me off. I go behind this curtain. I was in another area, it was like a mothership, and they said it was a mothership. And I must have gone in the shuttle. I don't remember. I just remember going behind this curtain, and I got led to this operating room, and I was absolutely terrified. I wondered what they were going to do. Anyway, they lay me on this bed. The man says, you must trust me, you must trust me. And I had no choice but to trust them, because these people, they were scary, because they were billions of years ahead of us, and they were very intelligent, and there was no resistance, no deterrence. He just knew that, right? Anyway, he left me alone, and it was like a proper operating theatre. And it was all white around. The next thing, they'd done something like sedated me or something. And there was these, what they call insectoids. These were 6-foot bugs with armour on, and they spoke. And they were so ugly. I had to close my eyes. It made me sick. I was absolutely terrified. Can you imagine a 6-foot, beetle-y, cockroachy, mothy looking thing with massive bug eyes? And you see, they started all laughing. Do you remember that advert? And it says, smash, get smashed, and they all start laughing. And started all laughing at that. It was really sinister. And they said, she thinks we're ugly. Don't you? And they said, you're in the best hands. And that blonde man comes in and says, these are the best surgeons in the universe, because they have a lot of hands, don't they? Well, anyway, I found this excruciating pain at the back of my neck. And they put this, thing, a little tiny white thing. I didn't know what the hell it was, like a little white chip. Smaller than a SIM card. It was tiny. Half the size, quarter of the size of a SIM card. But they really drilled in the back of my neck. Here, you've got, if you feel at the back of your neck, and there's, a gap, isn't it? You can feel it. They put it in there. And it was pain. I can tell you I felt the pain. the next thing, I'm whisked away all over the bloody place. The stars, I'm in space, and they're talking to me and they're telling me all sorts. I can't remember it all, I'm sorry. And anyway, we became quite good friends then. And I didn't know what the hell they were doing. Anyway, they were chatting away. And in the end, I got like that Stockholm syndrome where I started really trusting them. Anyway, they told me lots of things. Like they said I couldn't go where they were. And it wasn't even like they were from another planet. I gathered they were from like another dimension. Another realm maybe, another place, another timeline, I don't know. But anyway, they started really chatting to me. Then they were in like a conference around a round table. And the woman who looked like exactly like me kept looking at me, really annoyed, because I don't know what I wasn't getting. Obviously, I was only a young woman at that time. Anyway, they were chatting away, and I said, well, why are you talking to me? You're telling me things. I've got no understanding of rocket scientist. I haven't got a clue. And they said, we've picked you because you have an open mind. And I said, they singled me out. Now, that's the only one I remember. I reckon they've took me before and since. But that's the only one I remember anyway. It got that way. I didn't want to leave them. I didn't want to come back. They showed me a future like where I'm in this flying car. It was great, it was. And at that time, I couldn't even drive. And I'm really flying through the sky in this like flying car. And it was like a purpley colour. It was almost like a chariot car, and it was fantastic. But other cars were flying past. It was like some future place, or I don't know. And it was me in a future life they were showing me. I was going to be this, I was going to do that. In this other life, I had a lot more confidence than I had at that time, or even now. I was more focused and knew where I was going. I was only very young in this other one. Anyway, the next thing, they bring me back. They say they're going. And then the next thing, I'm in like this military complex. And there's this baldy guy. And I got hooked like a cubicle with a curtain across. And there's this general there, he looked American. He had stars, like 3 stars or whatever. And he started talking to me. And he said, you mustn't remember none of this. And before I'd left, these extraterrestrials I met had told me not to tell them anything. And they told me they were going to wipe my memory, but I begged them to let me remember stuff. So this is all I remember. They let me remember some stuff. So I just told this man I didn't remember nothing. And I passed anyway. The next thing, in the morning, I wake up in my bed, and of course I tell the partner at the time he didn't believe me, because he's sceptical. And he wouldn't believe me to this day, I don't think. He just thinks I believe it. But this really, I swear, this really happened, and it was no dream. Because I remember it vividly. But that's all I remember. But that was quite an encounter, wasn't it? So, anyway, I hope tomorrow you all have a nice, safe and happy Halloween, and take care out there. Bye now. I'm going to end this here. Goodbye. How do you end it? How do you end this? Take 5 out. Watch your out. There we are. Yeah, I'm sure.